remember what THX1134 means, right? Or whatever weird code you're using for your variable names. So it might be sometimes handy, and sometimes it can be a pain in the neck. Depends on your circumstances. So I'm not going to use one now, but that's what the label is for. And yes, you're welcome to use a label. All right. What is not optional is telling it what the old and new values are going to be. And so this was a 1 to 7 scale. So a 1 now is going to mean what? 7. And I need to add that. And a 2 is going to mean a 6. 3 is going to mean 5. And 4 is still going to mean 4. Do I need to put it in there?
Yes.
I do, because otherwise SPSS will put it as a missing value. This seems silly to me, but it's got to be done. All right, and then 5 becomes 3. 6 becomes
2.
2, yeah. And 7 becomes
1.
1. Outstanding. Now, the one thing we did find out last time, if we need to recode multiple variables, we only need to do this part once, and then we can recode multiple variables with the same recoding values. Of course, now we only need to do it to one time. All right, so now I'm going to continue, and oh, there we go. I had to click change here. I was wondering why it wasn't giving me the go ahead here. I have to click this change in order for it to accept this name as the new name for this new variable. All right, now what? Paste. Yep.
So I got, it says variable name contains an illegal character.
Yes. So your variable name cannot contain any spaces or special characters except for an underscore.
Okay, got it.
So if you wanted a space, like if I wanted to go look to space recode, I can't use space, but I can use an underscore.
Gotcha.
And that's fine. But yeah, a lot of times when you get that error and you don't know what it is, see, watch what happens here if I just put a space. Yeah, see, now I'm gonna get that same one because I put the space after.
Yeah, that's.
And those are hard to see. Those are really hard to spot when you do that. So yeah. All right.
So what's because I did, whenever I was doing this, I did same variables. You're saying that you should do different variables because I guess if I like misinput something in same, then you can't go back?
No, I'm not saying you should. I'm saying I am. And what you should do is understand the pros and cons of each approach.
Right, that's what I was wondering.
So the con to this approach is it's going to make my data set messy and a little bit harder to do the calculation that I have to do next, which is adding the 3 locus of control items together. It's going to make that a little bit trickier. So there's a couple of cons to this. The pro is that should I ever need to go back to my original variable, I can.
Okay.
For example, should I ever ask the question, well, is item 1, item 2, and item 3, what are their correlations with each other? I can actually go back and figure that out. There's other reasons why you might want to go back to these original 3. This is going to be a little bit advanced, but I might want to, instead of creating a new variable by adding them all together, I might want to create the first principal component because that's going to actually reduce my measurement error. And that, I would need the original item. That would be the better thing, is the original item rather than the new item.
Okay.
So there's reasons you might want to keep the original. On the other hand, there's reasons why you might want to just overwrite the original if you really are certain that you're never going to need that original again.
Okay.
So it's not that you should or shouldn't do one thing or the other. You should understand the pros and cons of each. All right, now I'm going to paste. All right, this data set, activate data set 1. I'm going to get rid of that. Probably getting a couple of students emailing me with problems, some of which might come from that little piece of code. That little piece of code, that data set, activate data set 1. Data set 1 just means the first data set that you opened. And right now, that's the right data set. But if I ever close out of this analysis and then open a couple more data sets and then open this data set and want to analyze this data set with this syntax, it's no longer data set 1. Now it's data set 3. So if I have that code up there, activate data set 1, SPSS is going to be referring to the wrong data set, not the one that I want to analyze. So that's why I always get rid of that stuff, and then I just control which data set is activated by clicking on it. The last data set you click is the active data set. Okay? All right, now we're ready. Let's go ahead and recode. All right, and now I'm back to my issue of I need to add up. I need to add these up to create my locus of control measure. How do I do that? Yep, transform, compute variable. All right, now I can give it a name. What do you all want to call it?
Total lock.
Total lock?
Total lock.
Sure. Why not? Total LOC. And that's going to be item 1. Now you can select item 1, click this arrow, or you can just drag it. Whatever you think is easier. Also, you can use this virtual keypad right here, or you can use the keypad on your keyboard. Again, it's whatever's easier. If you're on a laptop, this one may be easier to use. If you're on a desktop that has a numeric keypad on the side of the keyboard, it's easier to use, in my opinion. All right, now what? Paste. Now I need to do the same thing for the attitudes measure. Now, I've come back to transform, compute variable, and I've got all this stuff in here.
Delete that.
Yeah, I could delete it, right? I could delete it, but it's gonna be quicker for me to just hit reset. Also, know about this reset button because, and I've made this mistake, so learn from my pain. If you ever have to put in like all these kind of like, you know, special like conditions for your computation, which happens all the time, and then you forget those are in there, those things carry over if you don't hit reset. So reset, you know that you're back to a completely blank slate. All right, what are we gonna call our attitude measure?
Total at.
Total at. You know what, I'm gonna spell it out because I'm not gonna remember later what at means. I'm just gonna spell it out, attitudes. You can leave it as at if you want. All right, and this one we said didn't need any recoding, so I'm just going to, now for these next two, to get them over there, I'm gonna double click them. Now again, when there's only 3, that's a trivial savings of time, but if you were adding 30 of these things up, that double clicking actually goes a lot faster than select, click, or select, drag. Double clicking is definitely the way to go when you have a bunch of these that you need to add up.
Can you do arrows and enter?
I don't know, can you? Try it.
I already exited, I already calculated it.
I don't think you can because you can't select this arrow without it actually doing the
Okay.
thing.
Gotcha.
All right, time to paste in. Now we can run these two. To run them, I should point this out. Click and drag to tell SPSS what parts of the syntax you want to run. Now I go back to my data, and oops, that's not my data. There's my data, and I have 2 new variables.
So what's the difference between doing that and doing the descriptive statistics and sum?
Descriptive statistics and sum. You're talking about it. Analyze.
Yeah, and then
Descriptive?
so you can- if you press statistics, there's an option to do new media mode, sum, stuff like that.
Oh, right. But those, let's try it. Because what that does not do,
You did block 2 twice.
what's that?
You did block 2 twice, I didn't do.
Oh, you're right. Good point. Okay, so I went to options and I chose the sum. And I'm just gonna click OK because I don't want to keep this because it is, in fact, going to give me the sum for those variables. But what it's not gonna do is save that here.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yep. So that sum just means the sum of these variables. It doesn't mean the sum of these three added up and made into a new variable.
Okay.
Yep. Great questions. All right. So, what is the locus of control in this class? And the attitudes toward the class.
0.514.
That sounds like a statistic. What statistic is that?
The mean.
Ah, the mean. Excellent. How do I get the mean for these two variables?
Analyze, descriptive.
Analyze descriptives. And I can do either frequencies if I want median and mode, right? Or I can just do descriptives if all I want is the mean. Are we pretty sure we just want to use the mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can just use the mean. All right, I'm going to reset it because I was just seeing if that sum would do anything that I wanted earlier. Might as well just throw grade in there as well, right? Because eventually I'm probably going to ask about the grade. Which I don't remember if I did or not.
You did.
Okay, just for fun, I'm also going to go to options here, and min and max I really don't care about, so I'm going to click those off. I'm going to leave standard deviation, although I know I didn't ask for a standard deviation. On your test, I'm quite likely to do so. So you should know that this is where you get it. On your test, I might even ask about variance. If I do, you should know that you can get that right there. All right, and now paste and run. All right, it looks like I'm not gonna have to click and drag here. Looks like SPSS is guessing what I wanna do. Let's try it. Oh yeah. All right, so let's fill this in. What is the locus of control in this class? The mean was 10.54. Yeah. And what is the attitude toward the class? The mean there was
11.63.
yeah, 11.63. Yep. If we're rounding to 2 decimal places, which is fine. Oh, these are out of order, aren't they? No wonder this is so hard for you. These should have been up here. All right, you had to calculate those before you could answer those questions. All right, what's the relationship between grade and LOC? Grade and attitude, attitude and LOC. I can answer all three of those questions in one procedure. What do I need to do to answer those questions? Correlate. How do I don't see anything that says correlate here.
Analyze.
Ah, under analyze, sure enough. There it is, correlate. Choices, which one do I want? Bivariate, sure enough. Alrighty, so grade, here's where that discontinuous selection comes in handy. I'm gonna hold control down and select total and LOC and total attitudes. That way I don't have to select this locus 2 recode item here. Now, you don't have to do that, of course, and with only 3 items, it's no big deal to just do this, right? But it's handy to know that you can do this.
Oh, I have a quick question.
Sure.
Just missed this. So
Sure.
the 2 questions or statements, I guess, that said just calculate locus of control and attention scale items. That's just us doing the, like adding them up and putting it in. Okay, I just got confused because like
Yep.
the mean and stuff would have been after that, so I just got confused.
Right, that's what I was just saying. I put them in the wrong place, right? I should have put them before where we did the mean, yeah, yeah. I was like y'all with your paper. I was doing this at the last minute, about 2 hours ago. I'm like, what kind of questions might I ask on a test? I'm not promising that these are the only questions you'll get on the test. I might think of some more between now and Monday. All right, so we're now ready for our to get our relationships. So I'm going to paste and run. All right, so what is the, here, pull this up. What's the relationship between grades and locus of control?
.37.
0.37? Oops.
0.056.
Okay, I'm gonna, so you see how Word just corrected my R and made it capital? But that's incorrect, right? That's the symbol for the multiple correlation, not just the Pearson correlation. So I did Control Z to undo that so that it's a little R. And it equals, there seems to be some disagreement. I heard a 0.37 and a 0.543 or 0.56. So this is between the grade and LOC.
Oh, yeah, I'm wrong then.
Does everybody see it now? So 0.307, oh, I can't see it again, or 0.37, sorry. 0.37, and because this is actually, this might not be a sample, right? If his population of interest is only his class, or hers, I didn't specify the gender of the professor, the psychologist here. So if his or her interest is only in their class, this is their population, right? If it's not though, if this is a sample, then to be complete for a sample, we also have to report our p-value. And what about between grades and attitude? What is that correlation?
0.5.
We're also
Between grades and attitude? Oh wait, what did I ask?
Grades and attitude is 0.543.
Yeah, grades and attitude, okay, 0.543, yeah.
I keep doing attitude and LOC, I'm sorry.
That's okay, I was confused for a second there too. 543, and what is the p-value there?
0.006.
0.006. And then attitude and LOC.
0.056.
0.056, excellent. R equals, okay, this time Word is not going to correct my R for me. 0.56, and the P is 0.793. All right, so is the correlation between grade and locus of control statistically significant? No. What number tells you that it's not significant? Yeah, the P equal 0.075. What does that P value need to be significant?
0.000.
Less than 0.05, right? Less than 0.05. What about grade and attitude? Is that correlation statistically significant?
Yes.
Yes, indeed. And what number is telling you that? 0.006, which is less than 0.05. And what about the attitude and locus of control? No.
So in order for it to be significant, it has to be less than 0.005.
0.05.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so.
And what has to be less than 0.05?
The p-value.
P-value. Exactly.
So I have a question.
Sure.
Okay, so going through the APA 7th edition, I thought that for the p-values, you don't put the 0 in the front and the R. I don't remember about the R. But they were sort of like, going with all that little nitpicky stuff, right? So.
Okay, so you may be right, I'm not sure,
Okay.
but traditionally that's been for tables. Not when you report them in text. In
Okay.
other words, you don't have to use the 0 when you're reporting things that
Okay.
range from 0 to 1, like a correlation or a p-value, a probability, but only in tables. In text you still do. I don't know, though. You may be right about that.
Okay.
Off the top of my head, I'm not sure.
No big deal, right.
Here's the thing. I'm glad you brought that up, though, because here's my deal with APA style, all right? Where are the rules of APA style? Where do you find them? In the manual. The manual is APA style. If I ever count you down for APA and you can show me in the manual where I'm wrong, I'll give you those points back in a heartbeat. The rules for APA are not in my head. And what I hear students say a lot, this is an important point, folks. What I hear students say a lot is, oh, well, my old teacher taught us blah, blah, blah. I don't care what your old teacher taught you, and you shouldn't care what I teach you. That's not APA style. Where is APA style? In the manual, the APA manual. Now, what you do have to know is what kind of paper you're writing, right? You're writing an APA style research report. You're not writing that student paper. You're writing a research report.
Okay, so then I have another question that
Sure.
came up yesterday.
So anyway, if I ever take off points,
That's what I figured,
you
like,
just
you
go
get-
to the manual and show me the point.
Back up
And
the plane, right?
that has
There it
happened in
is.
my career twice,
Yeah.
where a student has said, you're wrong, Dr. Martin, about the APA, and they've been able to show me in the manual, and I'll be like, okay.
Well, it only just
9 times
changed
out of
last
10, the student is misreading it.
Sure.
But
Well,
yeah.
and that's how you learn, right?
Mhm,
So,
absolutely.
so the other thing was on the syllabus, it says the 7th edition, but in the instructions for the paper, it says the 6th edition.
Oh, that's because the paper,
That's okay.
the assignment is from old classes.
Okay, that's what I figured.
Yeah.
but, like, I don't even
No,
have
no, it's
a
from whatever edition you've got.
Okay, gotcha. Okay. And I think most of the stuff that they changed was like gender related.
There was
I don't think a lot of it was like some of the zeros and.
well, there was also electronic sources, like citing electronic sources. There was a lot of changes
Which we're
there.
not doing it for this art paper anyway, right? So, okay.
No, we don't have any weird sources for our paper. Yeah.
Cool.
All good questions.
We have a different total LOC correlation, but I think that might be because I ran the, I don't think I added in the new LOC2.
Oh, the
I think
recode?
that was it, yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's gonna make your results fairly different.
Okay.
So if that happens to you on the test on Monday, the test is gonna be multiple choice. So if that happens to you on the test, what's gonna happen is you're gonna get output from SPSS and it's not gonna match anything that's one of your options. And that's what will tell you that you have made an error somewhere.
So you're saying that like, we're still gonna be doing calculations just like that, we're just gonna have preset answers?
That's right.
Okay, cool.
That's right,
It
and-
was gonna be like partially for
And what I will try to do is anticipate errors that you might make in interpreting output. So for example, you might get the option for what's the relationship between total LOC and grade, 0.37, 0.075, 0.24. And you need to know which of those is the actual correlation.
Is there like a place online that we can find steps pretty much on how to do this kind of
It's
YouTube.
like
YouTube. Yeah, YouTube, I mean, this is all stuff that you were supposed to learn in statistics. And I understand that some of the stats professors didn't do a lot of SPSS, and some did a lot of SPSS. Some didn't do much Excel, some did apparently a fair bit of Excel. So it really depends on who you're coming from in terms of your stats and methods classes. But the other thing is, like right now in class, right, you're hopefully getting the steps, step by step. If I'm ever going too fast, you slow me down, right? You just say, Dr. Martin, can you redo that step? Because I'm always happy to redo the
I
steps.
think that, so what I learned from going, like, when we were going through all the stuff for the paper was like, I was trying to do it on the computer, but like, when I got home, cause I was like, I've got this, and I got home, I was like, I don't have this. So, for what it's worth, like, so I'm writing down all the step by steps, like, I'm just watching you and writing it down, like, all of those steps, because there's no universe I'm gonna remember all that. So hopefully by Monday, who knows? But like, I know if I'm doing the typing, there's no, I appreciate like getting to drive, but I'd rather be able to like go home and like try to go back through this.
I'm
on-
recording it, so I can just drop it in the
Awesome.
chat.
Cool.
That's also fine. Yeah.
Yep.
I have no problem with anybody
That'd be
recording the lectures. My only condition is if you put it up on social media and it goes viral and makes any money, I get a cut.
Nice. Good plan, good plan.
I'm sure that these videos will go viral in no time.
You know what? They might. That's how we watched all the other ones, right? Like, they're all on YouTube.
All right. Great questions. Other questions? Yep.
Is there any way, and understandable if so, because obviously we could just practice on this one, could you do just like an answer key, so we could like work through our own, or would you prefer if we just worked on this one?
Yeah, just work on this one, because you're asking, that's a lot of work.
Right. That's understandable.
You know, this is the second one we're doing like this, right?
Right.
We did the quiz that you had was very similar to this, although I gave you the SPSS output. You weren't actually working SPSS on that one. But then we also, when we took SPSS out for a test drive, we went step by step through basically an analysis like this. And then we also went through an analysis much like this for project one. So we